2 days into Occupy Phoenix now, when we have dozens of arrests to report, some of them caught on tape overnight. And a news conference just wrapping up, giving us some new information on just exactly what protesters are in trouble for. ABC 15's Steve Koosh is live downtown on this one. And Steve, bring us up to speed on the number of arrests and what's next for protesters.
Yeah, of the thousands of people who are out here, we now know that 45 of them were arrested last night. All these folks marched down to the 4th Avenue jail to get their buddies bailed out, to help them out. There is so much energy and enthusiasm right here going on now, and they're all being encouraged by the dozens, hundreds of drivers coming by honking their horns. The folks here tell me they will stay here as long as it takes for their message of demand and the demand for change to be heard, even if that means more arrests.
Let them go! Let them go! Let them go! Let them go!
They want change, they want justice, and they want their friends released from jail.
We are the 99%! 99%!
The newly started Occupy Phoenix rally got off to a strong start. But when protesters wouldn't leave the parks overnight when they were closed down, officers say they had no choice but to move in with force.
After hours of the authorities switching their minds, releasing different, confusing information, and using various scare tactics, they eventually surrounded us in combat gear.
From there, those who wouldn't listen to all the warnings to leave were arrested, 45 of them in all. The occupiers didn't think it would come to that. They thought they had the backing of Phoenix Mayor Phil Gordon.
The mayor said that he would show up and be arrested with anybody if they were going to arrest people, but he never did that.
The organizers of the Occupy Phoenix movement say they've met with city leaders, but talks have gone nowhere.
There are currently over 1,500 cities part of the Occupy movement, and we feel the conversation is just as important to the people of this state as the rest of the world.
And until those leaders, the so-called 1%ers in the country, act on that conversation, these occupiers guarantee that you'll find them here. I'm Steve Koosh in downtown Phoenix, ABC 15 News.
Happening now, we're going to take a look at an international protest happening in parts of our state. Right now, about 100 people are outside Cesar Chavez Plaza rallying against corporate greed, and dozens of riot police are on standby. Thanks for choosing us. I'm Stephanie Hockridge in for Katie.
And I'm Steve Irvin. The movement started in New York City weeks ago and has quickly spread to every continent except Antarctica. ABC 15's Steve Koosh has the latest from Cesar Chavez Plaza, where these demonstrations have been taking place. The protests mostly peaceful, but there have been some arresting.
That's right. As of currently, we have 3 people been arrested, Steve, nowhere near last night's numbers of 45. And the guys that police did take into custody today were some of the most unruly defined. Basically said that they wanted to be arrested, so they did accomplish that goal. Also, Phoenix Police Chief's head guy, Police Chief Joseph Yonner, also out here making his presence known. He's trying to keep an eye on things from the ground level to make sure nothing gets out of hand and things stay clean, not ugly.
1, 2,
I am officially arrested.
3. Just like that, police and riot gear removed the most unruly of the Occupy Phoenix protesters. This man waited around in the closed park and said he wouldn't leave unless it was in handcuffs.
He basically wanted to stand his ground and show his support for the movement. We've told everybody it is your personal choice if that's something that you want to do.
A few hundred people showed up for Sunday's occupation, much smaller than the previous day's crowds of thousands, but still just as passionate.
I was arrested last night.
As those arrested from the night before returned from jail, they were greeted like heroes. Interim Phoenix Police Chief Joseph Yonner was out in the area. He told me he was there to make sure every one of his officers in the department handled the situation as he wanted, peacefully.
As long as we've complied with them, they've worked with us negotiating. We're promoting peace, and the second that peace goes away from our message, then our message is gone. The people that are watching at home are going to be like, they're not there for the right reasons, and they stop listening. And that's all we want, is we want to be heard. We want people to listen.
You'll find everyone here has different reasons for coming out, but there is one they have in common.
What really brings me down here is about how much corruption there is in corporations that, buy our politicians off. They don't listen to us.
All right, well, we got a lot of guys out here, Steve, who are going to be hanging out on the sidewalk until this park reopens tomorrow night, and they're going to stay out here protesting. Some are going to go home, but they told me they'll be back out here in the morning to keep going every day until their demands for change are met. Steve?
Steve Koosh reporting live. Thanks so much. And you can count on us to continue monitoring those protests for any road closures, more arrests here in the Valley.